They say there isn't a lot of kicking in Aikido, perhaps if any. Rik Ellis is demonstrating kicking as taught to him by his father, who was taught by Kenshiro Abe.
Come in, and as somebody comically once said, it's like a Yogi Bear attack. You're coming in like this, just coming in like this, nice and open. Obviously with the MMA, everything's got to be reduced. I've got an opponent striking back, not just waiting for me to attack. So if Nick comes in with a hook, as I rimmy in, I come through and enter tight with my elbow, I can go for a takedown, got lots of options created. But I must enter. I don't enter in a typical rimmy way of Aikido, because if I enter in and his feet come together, Nick's just going to take me off balance and take me down. I'm gone. So I must still enter, keep that distance between my feet, but it's still a rimmy typically to enter. So if Nick goes to strike with a hook, I enter bam, I can overhook, take down, plenty of options. The other one, like a rim, but I can cut the angle off to the side as he goes to strike. I go with a hook, straight right, I enter with my hammer fist. Nice tight whip, coming off a whipping action. This hard part, it's outside of the glove, it comes in the bone part, the palm part of the hand. There's no padding, catches him right along the jawline. Okay, as he comes in, step in, boom, strike, in. Aikido from Aikido into the clinch. Okay, so we're in typical 50-50. Got my hand inside. What I do is duck under, pop the elbow across. As this hand comes up, catch this wrist, and a big rotation round. This control here. And as I step through, simply take his back, and I can work in, get my hooks in, so on and so forth. It's a bit like an arm drag in a sense. You're putting a round and down in spiral motion to the mat. So once again, we're in there, pop, drop. I'm here now, strong in the hips, push up and over, secure this arm, down and round, step round, here, seat belt, rear naked choke. Again, plenty of options. Okay, the next technique is Sankyo. Obviously with a typical Aikido, you normally do it stood in front of each other, Nick catches, bring over into the Sankyo. But to make it adaptable in MMA, I found there's ways you can do it reversible on the floor, there's other positions you can do from, but one of the typical techniques that is game over for people is when they get caught in a rear naked choke. It is a wrist lock that you can get, but you've first got to break the rear naked choke. If Nick gets me, we'll just do a standing. It could be sitting, laying down, either. Okay, if I can make a break on this hand, if it's sunk in deep, obviously it's going to be very tough to get out of. I make the break, as I get here, roll his elbow over with my shoulder, freeing up this hand. And then as I step through tight here, I've opened up on this entire side to come through with a knee. Okay, I'm not going to get submission from here, but it's going to take him off balance, it's going to put him in a lot of pain and difficulty on his elbow, and then I'm going to strike from there and then follow on with whatever. The next technique stems from a third form Nikyo, which is basically grabbing by the collar, which I then went to adapt, catching from a neck catch, rolling the hand over and putting on a wrist lock, goes up through the elbow and through the wrist. The way I incorporate it in MMA, there's several different ways. One of the ways is when I'm on my back, I've got Nick in my guard, and he's pushing my head down by the throat, trying to make things very uncomfortable. Okay, I reach over, my hand mirrors his hand, thumb over thumb, I roll the thumb over, push my shoulder up, breaking a lock from there. Obviously, if he tries to come up with his hand, with this hand, I'm going to pop through and transition into something MMA, like a triangle. Okay? It's a little bit of a reverse Sankyo. I first come across it and got a tap when I was going for an Umapalata, which I just didn't pull off particularly well, and I was stuck with a loose arm between my legs. Didn't really want to give up my position. It was a little bit 60-40 in their favour, and I've still had the arm, put on like a Nikyo and a reverse Sankyo, got the tap, and this is kind of how it went. So it was in my guard, here the fencing, broken the guard, come up, tried to cut over here, and as I tried to get up, I just couldn't get there. I rolled the hand up and over, like a reverse Nikyo, like that, and got the tap from there. Okay? And I just roll the fingers over to touch the mat, obviously causing this rotation in the wrist and the elbow, and as you'll hear quite clearly, got the tap there. Well. Okay, and just finally to wrap up today was an adaptation that came from Kodagish. Again, from third form, I'm thinking of catching up here, the hands are high, and instead of catching on the gi, as in Aikido, the hands up here 50-50. We're in here, we've pummeled in here. What I do is slip this hand through up, push the head, and as I come down, travel down across the arm, this is here for the lock. Nick's not an Aikidoka, he wouldn't break full, he'd go to the back, or he'd go straight into the mat, where I'd be falling in with a ground and pound, or some kind of hold, submission, whatever.
Well, thank you, Rik, and thank you, Nick Chapman.